Okay. You got it. Alright, so, quick build vid then. I'll try to keep it as quick as possible. Just to state, this build I'm putting out because people keep asking for it, but it is not really a finished product as far as I'm concerned. There's multiple things I want to test and try to do some other stuff with it that's kind of minor. As it stands right now, it works. And it works really well. Which just shows, I guess, that, you know, what's going on in the build is strong. And it can apply pretty much across the board on any class, too. Which is interesting. But it can be expensive, too. You may need money for this one. In short, though, I mean, it really revolves around... I wanted to try infusing potion cooldowns. And, you know, here, I'll show you the potion cooldown right now. She's a crappy one, real quick. And you'll be able to see how quick the cooldown is on my potion here. So I've infused the traits on my jewelry. Quick potion cooldown. And this allows you to do a couple things with this. And this is... I'm not even sure where to start. Okay. So first of all, yes, one of the sets I have is Vicious Ophidian, and I can explain why I did that. The main reason, the first and foremost main reason is I came in when the patch hit, and I wanted gold jewelry to try it on. I threw this on because functionally I could make a set with this. Because VO is really not that bad. I also wanted to try to do something like one of my old builds in IC, where I could just maintain constant move speed, which I can do. However, there's other ways to go about that because there's new pots as well. But I'll kind of get into that. So, infusing pot cooldowns is kind of like the big play on this build. That's what we're focusing on. And as a result, you get the cooldown to these things down. I think it's 21 or 24 seconds. It's real short. In this case, I was using these pots. Very strong, very effective. Originally didn't plan to be using them as much, but with the amount of slows and stuff, these turned out to be very useful in countering slows and trying to stay alive. Just in general, staying alive, it's very good for that. Now, with this setup, with the cooldown being so low, you can actually chain pots, different ones. For example, I can switch over and use one of these, and they'll last, you know, the effects of Major Fortitude and Endurance will last 47.6 seconds. And then in 20-some seconds, I go over here, I pop one of these, and the Restore Health will last 48 seconds. And I come back over here. And you can kind of just keep swinging in pots. And, again, I just wanted to kind of test this to see how this works. Because what this means is you can really open up options on different classes that don't have certain buffs. I don't have Major Vitality, for example, on a Stam Sorc. These pots are just good in general. But, you know, there's some classes that don't have Major Expedition. Like when I play Stamplar, I use Major Expedition pots. But then, again, you can start to throw in more and more major effects. The other thing I wanted to test is with Argonian passive, which I already knew about this and had seen it on PTS. Getting your cooldown that low with Argonian passive gives you a lot of resource sustain. So it's really pairing all these things together and just testing it on the live server to see how it goes. So the reason I put in VO is because I wanted Major Expedition. This set's not that bad either, especially in non-CP. Is it the best I can put in here? No, absolutely not. The Major Expedition is a big part of why I use it. There's other ways to get Major Expedition, like the dual wield passive or whatever. I did not want to do that. I wanted Major Expedition and Minor Expedition. And I wanted my bar set up kind of like this. I'd say the most flexible skill to get rid of is probably Stampede. But ultimately, this gives me an insane amount of speed, maneuverability, and it's very fun for me. Like, I've enjoyed the hell out of this build. So it does remind me of the old build like Bullet Train that I used back in the IC days, just because it's fast and it's fun. As it stands, it works. Okay, I probably will make variations and improvements, because just to show you in short, there's new kinds of pots you can make with the new mats, like this one that I'm not using. You could throw minor protection in there. However, I'm using that with Sigil Order. This one is the one I'm most interested in. You know, I could get Major Expedition and the other stuff. And then I wouldn't need VO, right? So I'll show you the build real quick. I know it's a lot to take in, just general info about the patch and all, about what I was trying to do. But hopefully this gives you ideas, at least. Maybe you can take yourselves and, you know, play with ideas. That's kind of why I post builds, not to just copy paste stuff. You know, play with the concepts and see what's possible. And you can see me use this a lot when I'm streaming. And I posted some clips to kind of show how it flows. But so yeah, I used VO for starters. This would be the set I would drop. The other thing in conjunction on top of the Argonian and all that stuff is you can have very high uptime on Alchemist. Why is this good? Because it makes up for a lot of damage. It's not full time. It's up about, you know, 75% of the time. And it also gives you good max health. So right there, it covers some health, so I could go medium, and it'd still make up for damage. And the uptime is very high with this kind of setup. I proc it on this bar with the two-hander. The two-hander in this case is Nirnhoned. I'm using just straight poisons on this thing. So yeah, I'm 5 medium here because of where I have VO, Vicious Ophidian. And then I had 2 heavy pieces up here with Troll King. And then down here I had Masters. And this stuff's like, again, it's not even finished product. Like I have a Defending Axe here. I wasn't settled on anything that I made or tested or really made it like the best of the best. This build is for non-CP. You could push more damage, especially swapping out VO for something super offensive here. But truthfully, you're giving up a lot by doing this. So be aware of that. You're giving up the trait of jewelry, which would be robust. You're giving up like weapon damage enchantment. So on a normal standard build that you would have seen last patch, that's 3 weapon damage enchants you're losing. That's 3 robusts you're losing. What are you getting for it? In this case, you're getting an insane amount of sustain. Like, and that's again what I wanted to test in live. And how does that actually pan out? Well, it pans out pretty damn well. And it's something I'll continue to mess with, you know, on other stuff. So the Masters, great for the bleed, you know. And in general, again, I have videos posted on this, but it pretty much flows like a lot of. I'll show you the combos in a second. I'll show you my bars. Got Rending here for the move speed slow. It's redundant with the fact that I have Stampede, but you know, I didn't know if I was going to keep Stampede or not. I ended up keeping it because, again, it gave me great reach. For example, if you want to get to a mob over there, you can quick streak, then gap close, hit your target, and like streak out, and you're rolling. You know, it's very fast, and that again for me makes it very fun. But it's not just fun; like it's effective too, even just as is. I did do Sigil stuff. I dropped Overload on this, and I ended up liking that. And I'll tell you why. This gives me minor protection over here, and I have it on the dual wield bar. So if I need to retreat from somebody and like I streak through them and I'm running, I have minor protection on this bar where I'm vigoring and dark dealing. But the more important thing is, and this is something I'm still learning, you'll see me do it here and there. But like, you know, say you get bursted by somebody and you're trying to recover, like a Nightblade just pops you while you're fighting somebody else and suddenly you're taking a lot of damage. You make sure to pop Vigor. If you have this kind of pot running, you know, you can just get up, pop Vigor, and block and use this shield. This shield will help a lot. Learning to use this shield on certain builds will be helpful, and you get this because you're able to have this on your bar. So, you know, that 1 tick of Vigor may pull me up in health, and then, you know, again, if it's like, you know, if a Nightblade opened me and there's a guy over there, or the range guy, what you normally do is go to the range Sorc with a gap closer, streak through them, get around your line of sight, force them, if they want to chase you, make them invest in that stamina to come sprint over at you. You know, they come around the corner and you can get right back in the fight on them, just heavy in with a bleed. And that's generally your open. I mean, sometimes you're coming in with a gap close, but a lot of times, like an ideal open would be coming in with a heavy attack into the bleed, and then you can let me quick show you again. You can watch replays of stuff because I post stuff, but you know, you come in with a heavy attack, befouled weapon, plus the weapon damage enchantment from dual wield. So now you've buffed your weapon damage. You've laid both enchantments, 2 hits off a heavy attack, 2 hits off a rending, and a bash. Okay, so that's like 7 things that just happened right at the start of the fight. Hurricane's ticking, whatever. You got your rending going, and at this point you've switched to this bar. The target's slowed. You've done your first swipe of things, and you know, after that rending attack like that, I just insta kill stuff with it. Then you go into this light attack, you know, and you can come down and close your target. If you don't like your fight, you move around, you reposition, you keep striking. Again, the sustain's really amazing on it. I could go over the CP, but I don't think I want to right now because I haven't used this in CP, and I don't know if I would recommend doing this in CP. Again, you're giving up a lot of stats. So why is it effective in non-CP and maybe not as effective in CP? It could be effective in CP. You could kill people with it. And if you do this build, you'd pretty much spread a bit equal. You do have Rending and Hurricane for dot damage, plus Dawnbreaker. But a lot of it will be your other stuff. So in the blue tree, you'll spread pretty even. Everything else, it'll look kind of the same as any Stam build. So I really don't want to go over the CP build right now because you know, again, I think I'll make some modifications, but I kind of don't want to go into that. But yeah, just to review the bar again. Sorry, I don't know if I got through it all. Rending Slashes, Crit Surge, Hurricane, Resolving Vigor, Dark Deal, Temporal Guard. This one gives you minor protection. And then Stampede, Streak, Dizzying Swing, Forward Momentum, Reverse Slice. So you have no Burst Heal off Rally. You're not using Shuffle. You are in 5 medium, 2 heavy. But again, you have a lot of hots running, and you're going to trust those hots. You'll learn how those hots hit you, and you do want to use... These Lingering Healths are not hard to afford, but be mindful in engaging in a build like this. It's going to be expensive. You're also going to want gold-infused jewelry, because if it's only purple... It's really not like it's undoable, but like you're losing a lot versus purple robust jewelry. It's like, okay, who cares? But infused purple to gold, it's going to impact you, especially when it comes to something like this. So you're going to be making an investment doing this stuff, but it's fun as hell. The reason I haven't kicked out and tried some other stuff on other classes is because it's expensive. I have to decide on a set. I think everyone knows everyone's favorite set you could throw in here instead on Vicious Ophidian, and it'd be very strong. It would fit perfectly on this build. You know, I don't want to do that. There's plenty of other things to put in here, and there's other classes and stuff to think about. What's cool about this build, I guess, is you can see it a bit in action, and see the effects of this, and you know, I want to play with the other traits too. Make fun builds, and this is kind of like, you know, a first stage in it. So and I'll be trying to post gameplay of this, I guess, here and there, like different Battlegrounds matches, and you can see how it is fun and how it flows. People always ask me, what skin is the weapon in the video, and I always wonder why. I don't, you know, it's probably Daggerfall Covenant. Okay, so we're just gonna answer that question too. CP one, not going to be able to help you on that too much. I mean, here are the stats, I guess, outside in CP. I have the Thief on. I'm not really sure why. I think I just had that. You don't need Thief, but honestly, you don't need Stam regen. You don't really need the Warrior, but you could go with the Warrior. I don't know what I'd go with here. I didn't know how much damage I would be putting out with this. I remember at some point I was testing something with Thief. But as it turns out, you can stay in combat a lot with this build. You can really stay in people's faces. You'll have plenty of opportunities to crit. And you do want to crit often with Crit Surge because it's a huge heal in conjunction with Lingering. You have Vigor going, and you have Forward Momentum. These are all your heals that will be running in combat. Okay. So you can look up here. You know, you have a lot of hots running. Like Crit Surge isn't even proccing right now. Okay, so you'll have good hots. You will not. Your burst heal you do have is Dark Deal, Again, you really get chunked on damage. You want to line of sight. You want to get that vigor going. Maybe get this block off, and then you can kind of reconnect and dark deal. It really just takes a little practice, is all. So, cool build, really fun. Cool concept. I'm sure there's guys out there that have tried this and have had fun with it. I do think this kind of thing will be very effective in non-CP. And, you know, I look forward to trying some other stuff on other classes with it. But that's pretty much it for now. Did I really miss anything? I could quick show a video of it on the YouTube, which you could have already seen maybe. But I can kind of talk through it real briefly. I'll show one of the short ones. Because I think I posted 2 videos on this. You know, I'll just skip around through one. So, let me bring this up. And if anyone has something in the chat that I may have missed, feel free to throw it at me. And I can try to answer it real quick. Argonian Filthy Trade, yeah. So, and you know what? You could do this without Argonian, but with Argonian, it's going to be much stronger. So,
You son of a bitch.
that is something that I saw as potentially problematic with the patch. Again, I don't think it's going to be the worst thing when it comes to Cyrodiil, because you're trading a lot away. You're trading 3 weapon damage and chance, and you know, some other stat-based stuff there. Sorry, I was reading my Twitch chat. Let me skip ahead in this video. But non-CP it is effective, and I think it does give Argonians quite an edge, and I'm not sure if that was how well thought out that was. You know, in any event, you know, there's other things too, like slodes or whatever. So, now my max stam isn't huge. People always say on stream, like, why is your stam so bad? But you know, when it comes to no CP, like, there's people that with less max stam than this that do well, and you can see why from the video. I have 2 sets that really don't add max stam, and I don't have robust on. The Vicious Ophidian could technically be dropped for something else. You could lose Major Expedition, but you could make up for that with a pot. And use something else for either more weapon damage or even more sustain. You could use something like Briarheart, or just go passive with Hundings. You could do 7th Legion. There's all sorts of different things you could actually throw in there, because you don't need anything. You're not missing something. Vicious Ophidian's not filling something in. It is giving me stamina if I'm cutting through people, but you can see the amount of pressure. You know, let me knock it down here in speed. I mean, you see all the instances of damage. Again, you have rending slashes. Oh, I forgot to mention another thing. The Alchemist on the back bar, the 2-hander, that is an axe, and you have at least 1 axe on the dual wield. Master weapons are obviously good. If you can't get them, it's not going to destroy everything, but I would definitely try to for builds like this. I will probably be gearing my builds to either run with Master dual wield or an Asylum 2-hander. So you can probably expect to see those in there when it comes to stamina, because I really like Asylum 2-hander, but the Master dual wield makes sense, especially in a situation like this. It gives you free damage where you're cutting away your resources for sustain, because at the end of it, like, that's what matters in NoCP, and that's what makes NoCP a bit interesting, and sometimes a little misbalanced there. So there's just standard, but you know, take a look at the stats, I guess. And there's sometimes when I get in trouble, you can see the reactions. They're kind of the things you want to look at when you learn the build. Other than that, like, see right there, I just popped the pot on my 2-hander. That's with Alchemist. Buffs up. Rebuffing here, just did my 2 buffs. Hurricane. That guy just kind of died. So there's a streak to get the range guy off. You always want to go for range, really, if you can dig in on them, if they're not going to be too hard to kill. Refilling my stamina, but you can see how much a Dark Deal gives, so like 2 Dark Deals would have really filled me up there from half stam. So I could Dawn Break this guy. I don't think I want to waste it on him, because I don't need to. You want to try to apply that bleed as quickly as possible on people. That's huge. You never know if that guy's going to get burst healed or whatever. Plus, you want to constantly rotate on your dual wield because that is a weapon damage buff. You have an infused weapon damage buff on your dual wield. You want to keep getting that procced. It's very important. No matter what build you're running, you want to keep rotating your combo. Now look at this guy. Like he just dropped down into a heavy attack, so you can see heavy attack, befouled weapon, rending slashes, hurricane tick. Now I've bar swapped, okay? And he's just figuring out that I'm heavy attacking him. There's a light attack. There's the light attack. My poison proc, ravage health, creeping ravage, rending slashes, bleed, hurricane. Here comes the uppercut. That happens to crit him. And followed by a light attack immediately. And then execute. He died. Alright. So that's your rotation. If you can clobber someone with a heavy, that's how you want to open and pound. That's without ult. Alternatively, you could ult right there after that, and then execute. And that's about it. So did I miss anything, guys? Anything else? Any questions or something that I can put in? If not, again, you can find this. I'll give the build some kind of name, and if you see clips for it, I'll put them in for it. Armor style. No, there's no armor style for this build. Use the Covenant armor style if you need them. All right, Covenant all the way. All right. So again, very fun build. Probably do more stuff. I'm going to be looking to make some fun builds and play with some of the traits and try to do interesting stuff. Everything may not pan out to be the most min-max, but I'm okay with not doing the most min-max. I want to have some fun with builds and not just be trolly, like where the gameplay's fun with it, or it's interesting. So did you mention the Troll King? I think I did. Yeah, Troll King. Troll King I highly recommend. If you have someone else in your group running Troll King, you can use Valken very effectively and offensively on this build. Troll King just kind of solidifies, again, the multiple layers of heals over time that you have. So, you'll be good there with that. So you're running 5 medium? Yes. Yeah, your move speed's real high with this. And you can even use the Sigic ult, and there's times I do use it, and it's really cool. And having that, again, not having such a super high stam pool, like I might get in trouble and I need to block, vigor, do a roll again, streak twice, roll, boom, and then just Sigic ult back. And I have a good chunk of resources, right? So you can use that as well, defensively, because you don't always need your ult. Like this build maintains a lot of pressure, and you just saw why, rotating the heavies and all that. So, my hand's just injured a little bit, okay? That's all. Should be good in hopefully a month and a half or so. Any other questions? Why not run crit charge instead of stampede since you already got a slow from running? It's a good question. You could. For me, slow is so important that I don't mind the redundancy there. I could run crit rush and scoop a little more damage, sure. But there's no guarantee sometimes. There's times where I will crit rush somebody. I do crit rush, light attack, and then dawn break right away. That's a Sorc. If I ever see a Sorc or a Nightblade that has not put his shield up, and trust me, there's a shitload of them. And the other one's snipers. You'll see these Nightblades with like 17, 18k health. They just opened on you or somebody else, and they're just jamming snipes in, right? You turn around, you gap close them, light attack, dawn break, execute, and they're done. That'll kill them. But if it doesn't, they're slowed. Okay? So, slowing is so important there. It's really important to slow. So, right now I just have the redundancy on it. That's all. Why does Bill not have Rune Cage and Zon? That's not a bad question at all. I feel Zon is way overkill here. Now, if you were using this build and like say you were in like a pre-made versus other pre-mades and they were more tanky, then you could absolutely put Zahn in, because this is the kind of build you could get in people's faces with. Even if you're against a team, you could make it through their burst and just maneuver around, whether it's just roll dodging and streaking and doing that stuff. Excuse me. I should have grabbed some water here before I did this. But you could put Zahn in. In general, I feel it's overkill. That's why that's not there. The Rune Cage question is a better one. Rune Cage is fantastic, and I want to put Rune Cage in some builds. I didn't feel it was necessary here. The build does lack the stat damage, but it makes up for it in the high, you know, throwing in a lot of things like the Master, Heavy Attack, Dual Wield, Bleed. You have bleeds from both sides. You have high sustain, and you really need a punch to kill a fair amount of people. Now, you can put a lot of pressure out with this build, but you may need the punch still outside of your ult. That's why you have the Wrecking Blow or the Dizzying Swing. Will I use Rune Cage in other builds? Yeah, absolutely. I want to. It's very strong. I didn't want to do it right now. Does that mean I won't do another variation of this build with it? No, because I've thought of doing this with Dual Wield Bow and Rune Cage. But, you know, we'll see. Okay. Why not Scoria RP over Zahn? That's what I just suggested. I would use Scoria over Zahn with this build, and it would be very effective. And there'd be a lot of matches where you don't need the Troll King. Now, if you can play with a partner who may have Troll King too, or some kind of support, you know, you can bring both in. Like, bring in the Troll King and bring in the Valken, and then just swap in the Valken sometimes. I should do it on stream, because, yeah, you would see. It would proc non-stop. You know, it'd be really nice. Okay. So I think it's about it. So I hope you have fun with this build. Hope you enjoy it, appreciate it. You can stop by the stream and see it. Again, I will try to post more clips of it. It has been really, really, really fun just playing it. I have a really good time on it. And I look forward to trying out some new stuff. And I'm going to try some other, you know, try to think deep about some of the other traits too and put some stuff that kind of works together there. So we'll work on it, all right? Orc race is still the master race. Absolutely, Ogre Lord. Yeah, I have 3 Sorcs. So I already had my Argonian one too. But anyway, that's it. So we'll just slap a fancy name on it, and that'll be the end of the build for now. So, all right, good. Build video done. Mission accomplished. All right.